My mum reviewed my book on Goodreads. She gave it 4 stars. 4. She's my mom. But she also said that the one thing the book was missing was Brian's story. 2 of my editors had mentioned the same thing, independently of each other, to people that I worked with a couple of years apart. This question has come up enough times that I want to answer it properly, here on camera. My name is Bianca Johnson. I'm an empowerment coach, author, and pregnancy loss advocate based in South Africa. This is Ask Bianca, where I answer the questions that keep coming up. And this one keeps coming up. So why isn't Brian's full story in the book? The short answer is, because it's not mine to tell. Everything in all of these lines is written from my inside experience. It's what I felt in my body, what was going through my mind at 2 a.m, what I heard and carried, and the things that I found that helped me. Brian was right there through all of it, but what he was carrying, I can only guess at. And I wasn't willing to guess, not in print, not about a real person's grief. If I'd written his chapter, I'd have been writing fiction. Well-intentioned fiction, but fiction, and that didn't feel honest to me. Brian is not a writer, he's a coder. And although I did mention it to him as an option, he made the decision not to write his story in my book, and I completely understand that. But here's what I need to say clearly. His grief is real. Partner grief is real. It just looks different from the outside, and that difference is where a huge amount of pain gets created between couples after a loss. When you're the one who carried the pregnancy, grief is in your body. It's physical, it's hormonal, it's completely unavoidable. It's so part of just about everything that you think about, particularly in those first few months. From our side, watching your partner go back to work, crack a joke, just, function. It can feel like they're moving on, like they don't feel it in the way that we did. It can cause some rifts, but the point is they were grieving. They just carried it very differently. I want to be honest here, because that's the whole point of the series. About 6 months after my last pregnancy, I had a falling out with Brian. I completely lost it because in my mind, I believed he was moving on from me, from the grief. He didn't appear to have any concerns, and it was devastating to me. I was heartbroken. My mind was spiraling. I was repeatedly going to my psychologist asking for help with why he isn't grieving, why he doesn't care about me. I completely blew up and discovered that he'd been scared and that he was grieving, but it was very different. The thing he pointed out to me was that his grief was about seeing me sad and me hurt and me struggling. Yes, he grieved the baby, but the baby wasn't a real thing for him. The grief he carried, particularly around our termination for medical reasons, was the grief of the doctor suggesting he nearly lost me, or that he was going to end up having to raise our children on his own. It was a very, very different grief to the grief that I was carrying and the emotions that I was carrying. It was a realization that when we are in our grief, it feels like the biggest, most important, all-consuming thing, and slowly but surely we start to grow around that grief. For them, it's similar, but it's a different grief. They aren't necessarily grieving the baby. They could be grieving the relationship, the intimacy, the things that have changed between us and them. I think that's a huge thing. Brian was grieving that whole time, but it didn't look the way I needed it to in order to feel like it was grief. He wasn't crying. He wasn't feeling down, obviously. He was doing everything he could to create a life that protected me from anything more. We talk a lot in the loss community about the parent who was carrying the pregnancy. We talk a little bit about supporting your partner who's just gone through a loss or is going through a loss. but we very seldom talk about what the partner is actually going through on their own. Their grief tends to be quieter, more internal, less visible to the people around them. And because it's less visible, it tends to go largely unwitnessed, even by the person standing closest to them. If you're finding this helpful, please subscribe. There are more than 20 videos on this channel about grief, loss, and finding yourself again after pregnancy loss. New ones going up on a regular basis. There's a song I want to mention, Gone Too Soon by Daughtry. I've known the song for years, but I heard it differently recently. Really heard it. It's written from a father's perspective. There were lines in it that really tugged at my heartstrings because it shows us that the father is still thinking about those things that have been missed. And he speaks to remembering dates and wondering about that potential child. I think the one thing that was a huge reminder to me as well was the not a day goes by that I don't think of you. It's just so beautiful. That's what partner grief can look like. Quiet, internal, private accounting of everything that never got to happen. If you don't know the song, I'll put it in the description. Go and take a listen. It really is quite beautiful. This past weekend was Father's Day, and I understand that Father's Day can be complicated when your child isn't here. Whether you're a lost dad who's never quite been acknowledged on that day, or a lost mom who's watching your partner carry something neither of you have the words for, this day asks something of all of us. Father's Day can hold the not quite grieving together. It can hold not being recognized as a father on Father's Day, just like lost moms are seldom recognized on Mother's Day until they have a rainbow baby. But I also understand that not every lost family gets their rainbow baby, and that makes a huge difference. I think one of the other things that I've learned recently is even if the loss was years ago, there are fathers out there still carrying that pain of the appointment of seeing their wife being dismissed and her experience being played down. I remember you as well, and I recognize you as well. So who is this video for? It's for the lost mom who felt in those early months like her partner had already moved on, who felt completely alone inside a grief that was supposed to be shared. And it's for the lost dads or any partner who didn't carry the pregnancy, who's been holding this quietly, wondering if their grief even counts. It counts. It is always counted. If someone in your life needs to hear this, please share this video. Lost dads especially. They don't often get handed things that are made for them. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you're a lost parent, how did grief look different between you and your partner? Or if you're the partner, what do you wish people understood about what you were carrying? I read every comment. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of each other.